25th at 7:30 p.m. Ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio. Have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis. Because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week. They confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, you know Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Things that both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Time to rise and grind with us right here on the Early Line. It is a Thursday morning in the middle of June. Game 6 of the NBA Finals on deck tonight. We got an exciting show for you there, as well as hot temperatures in Major League Baseball, teams getting sold in the NBA, and many more hot topics. That's our job here. It's a Thursday. We got 3 hours to get through it here. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri. And Joe, yesterday, you watched the celebration of the Stanley Cup in South Florida. You had a day now to recognize that they're the best team in hockey and maybe with a chance for a three-peat. But the energy must be high today, even though the NHL is done. The NBA could crown they're achieving champions tonight as well. How are we feeling about that?
I'm feeling good, although I think we're going to have to prolong the celebration a little bit, Donnie. I'm just saying right now. We'll get into it, but I wouldn't exactly be busting out the champagne in Oklahoma City just yet.
I would love it. Come on now. Game 7 over the weekend, a chance to relax, watch you play out, watch all that nonsense here and say, oh, we got an NBA champion. Or it could end in 6 games, just like we saw the NHL Finals. Let's get to the 7-7, Joe. The hottest topics across the sports landscape, which includes people getting paid out there, not just the athletes anymore. It's the ownership groups cashing out. And the Los Angeles Lakers, out of nowhere, have sold their team for $10 billion. The Buss family that got in, in the late 1970s for $69 million, cashes out for 10 big ones here. Joe, how about that? The Lakers, the Buss family. Wow.
Yeah, $10 billion. The Dodgers now own the entire city of L.A., and I don't know if anybody considers the Angels a real team anyway, but yes, it's big news yesterday for the Buss family, who, let's face it, that's been in the family a long, long time, the ownership there, but no more. I wonder what LeBron thinks of that.
It's interesting. Maybe LeBron tried to put in a little, hey, let me buy this team at this point. But here's the interesting part, too, which we will talk about later in the show, Joe. Because the NBA obviously just signed a big contract, a TV rights deal. It's going to go on for the next decade here. Teams are selling for record amounts, but if it's such a good investment by business people, right? The Celtics of all teams, they sold. Mark Cuban always told you the NBA is the best investment there is. He sold out to the Adelson family from Las Vegas there, the sort of the gambling conglomerate. And now you see the Buss family saying, all right, now it's our time to cash in our chips as well. $10 billion valuation for Mark Walter now buying the team. And you're right about that. Why doesn't he go out and buy now the Angels so they can compete with the Dodgers here for supremacy in Los Angeles? It's amazing. People have that much money. Like, yeah, I bought the Dodgers. Yeah, I'll buy the Lakers at this point. We'll see how it turns out. But the Buss family states that they still are going to technically run the team as governors. That's not going to last too long. The Walter family steps in. And by the way, let me ask you this question, Joe. It's probably a good thing for the Lakers, right? Like, if they run it anything like the Dodgers, money is not going to be an object.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's really good for the rest of the NBA owners because you just reset the market at $10 billion. So everybody just got richer after this yesterday.
Yeah, the old owner of Minnesota is probably trying to hold up A-Rod again. Like, wait a second, they got $10 billion here. Somehow I want to reverse this decision. Not going to happen. How about a role reversal tonight? Tyrese Halliburton says he's going to give it every single attempt as a game-time decision to provide that effort to play in game number 6. Tyrese Halliburton confirms calf strain, hopes to play tonight, Joe. How about that?
Yeah. Listen, I believe him. I think he'll do anything and everything he can to get out on the court here tonight. But the reality is, I don't think Indiana needs him to play in order to get this to a game 7. So I think we're putting way too much stock in the whether Halliburton will play or not. He's not Jason Tatum. He's not Jalen Brown. He's not one of these guys. He's not a Luka. That's not who he is in this team structure. So I think he'll go. Of course he'll give it a go, but I don't think it matters whether he does or he doesn't.
TJ time, Joe Ranieri. Could it be tonight in the big house in Indiana? We'll find out just a little bit later how healthy Halliburton will be. Health also the reason why Jair Alexander is not a Green Bay Packer anymore. He now joins the Ravens as a free agent. That wasn't shocking to me. A good player going to a good football team saying, I want to win. But 1 year, $4 million for a guy that's a former All-Pro, still what we think is going to be in his prime. I didn't understand that contract. Baltimore hopes to get better, but also Baltimore hopes Jair Alexander actually plays on the field here, Joe.
A 1 year deal, kind of prove it situation there. I think it's a very low risk for $6 million for a possible all-pro cornerback who also happens to be former college teammates at Louisville with your quarterback, Lamar Jackson. I think it's a win-win. I know Lamar was stumping for him a lot this week, and looks like the front office listened, and I think it's a great move.
Yeah, it is a pretty good move there because if it does work out, it only fortifies that defense, and the Ravens still looking for that elusive Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. This should only help him if, again, Jair Alexander is healthy. So being healthy, that's not the Yankees lineup right now. I mean, yeah, they're playing every day, but they look like they are sickly at the plate. 3 hits last night, 2 runs. They get beat. And by the way, watching this game, did you see Anthony Volpe with a tailor-made double play that he should have easily turned and gotten out of an inning? Booted that play and struck out 3 times at the plate. The Yankees, 3-2 loss again to the Angels.
Yeah, let the record reflect that they did end the scoreless streak at 30 innings last night, thanks to, Jazz coming up and parking one in the bleachers. But the problem was him and Bellinger, fantastic, 2 solo home runs, and they got absolutely nothing else. Unbelievable. Another 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts for Aaron Judge, but who's keeping track?
Yeah, nobody's keeping track of that. Or how about the 8th inning when they get men on first and second base with the leadoff guy coming up and they say, we'll bunt him over. Now we won't. We'll pop up, and then we'll just pop everybody else up, and the Yankees get nothing. Why do I sound angry? Because I needed the Yankees to get 3 runs, and they got 2. Well, it would have been nice to get 2 runs last night for the New York Mets. They didn't score any last night. Here come the Braves, and oh my goodness, the Mets right now. In free falls, the Phillies won last night. They're now within a game of the Mets. What looked so nice for the Mets just a week ago, now saying, hey, Spencer Strider's on the mound today for the Braves, and another loss could be on deck. What's up with the Metropolitans here, Joe Ranieri?
Yeah, I mean, its sale went 8 2/3, no less.
Brilliant.
Which, yes, I mean, just absolutely unbelievable. 8 2/3 innings. They looked helpless. And by the way, bottom of the first, Acuna Parks one about 420 feet dead center field to start the game off for Atlanta. You just kind of knew, oh boy, this could be a long night for the Braves and for the Mets rather. And it was in that 5-0 loss. And the bullpen got a day's rest. How about that?
There you go. Sale dealing. You got Strider on the mound today. Could it be a win streak here for the Braves and sort of catapult their summer? We'll find out. But you know what I love here? Talking about the summer, heat and humidity. How many times, Joe Ranieri, did you watch a game at the Trop on your television set and say, Why aren't we getting any runs, man? The ball doesn't travel here. My goodness, an 8-0 lead for Baltimore in the top of the second inning ends in a 12-8 loss because Tampa was absolutely rocketing baseballs into the seats left and right last night. Oh, I love this new ballpark. Don't you dare ever go back to the Trop down in Tampa, Joe. Don't do it. Don't do it.
You stay right there at Steinbrenner Field, outdoors, in the humidity, in June on a warm night. And I'm debating on which park is more a favorite of mine, this one or the one in Sacramento, because they're both pretty fun.
I mean, you had deep shots last night. You had balls just scraping that wall going like, man, it feels like Yankee Stadium in here. It is fantastic. Don't ever put the roof back on the Trop. Just demolish that place. Stay at Steinbrenner Field. I absolutely love the way that plays out here. And playing out at the College World Series. Did you see that? LSU, Joe, with a late rally, they're headed to the finals.
Unbelievable. But the problem is they're taking on a juggernaut in Coastal Carolina, who's now, 26 straight this year they've won? Wow, should be a good one.
Incredible stuff here. Incredible stuff. And by the way, Ace Bailey refuses to work out for the Sixers. Ace tanking his draft stocks left and right. We got to talk about the tanking Yankees next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Major League Baseball, come on now, Yankees. And again, sometimes we don't like to have, Joe, like grievances, like make it onto the air, but I needed the Yanks to get 3 runs. They get the solo home run by Jazz in the second. Like, wow, the Yankees actually scored a run. Cody Bellinger tacks on in the 4th inning with another solo home run. It's 2-1 Yankees. The good vibes are back in the Bronx here. Maybe we can get a couple more runs and put away this Los Angeles Angels team. only to find themselves on the end of a 3-2 loss. And yes, they did score 2 runs. They hit 2 home runs, but only 3 total hits in that entire game. Multiple chances late with runners on base to sort of get the game tied up at 3-3 or take the lead. They weren't able to do that. So my question to you at this point is, not from a Yankees perspective, will they recover? Like, what actually happened? Because, Joe, they didn't run into Chris Sale, Spencer Strider, and Schwellenbach, let's just say, for the Atlanta Braves. Like, hey, man, you got 3 really good pitchers on the mound. You're struggling a little bit. It makes some sense. Like, you're getting guys like Kohanowitz out there and the Tyler Andersons of the world, like bad pitchers that they can't hit now. What happened to that Yankees offense?
Well, what happened is the Yankees offense collectively together are hitting slumps. And listen, it was bound to happen. You had one guy hitting 400 for the first 2 months, 2.5 months of the season here, Donnie. At some point, regression was coming here. The problem is it's not just, you can survive if just Judge is the guy that's having a hard time going through it. We've seen this before. But you can't have Goldschmidt. You can't have Bellinger. You can't have pretty much the entire top half of your lineup go hitless every game. That is not going to cut it here. And that's exactly what's happened. Regression has all come for these guys at the same time. Bellinger, that was the first time we've seen Bellinger actually get on base in the month of June in forever. I think he's hitting 200, less than 200. Goldschmidt's hitting 170 this month. It all just seems to be happening at the same time. Donnie, what happens with that is that positive regression will come in and they'll all start hitting at the same time and all be at the Bronx Bombers.
Yeah, Judge just missed one in the bottom of the 8th inning. Had runners on, first and second base with 1 out at that point here after Grisham popped up. He travels right around that warning track, and then Bellinger comes up. He makes it out there, and they weren't able to do that. But the real question was, like, it affects all parts of the game, right? At the top of the 8th inning, they walk the bases loaded. Talking about the Yankees pitchers here, it's like, they're going to give up some runs. They bring in a left-handed sidewinder reliever. He gets the perfect ground ball right to Volpe, and he boots it there. And not only does he boot it, like, he can't even recover enough to throw it to second base. He throws it away. Now, only 1 run scored, which there was still a chance that the Yankees could have scored some runs, and they did. But everything seemed like at the same time it's falling apart. But today in the Bronx, Joe, it's muggy. It's 90-degree temperatures. Another hittable pitcher. Maybe they're on the rebound at that point. But it seems like for the Yankees, it's either you hit a solo home run or you don't score at all. It's a tough time right now in the Bronx as they're starting to slip back here. Talking about another team from New York City in Queens. They're not in Queens this weekend. They're down to the Big A. But the struggles continue. Yesterday, the Atlanta Braves 5-0 blanked the New York Mets in that game. Paul Blackburn, as we said yesterday, Joe, overmatched on the mound. Probably not going to have a great start. 3 2/3 innings pitched. He gives up the 3 runs, and basically that's all the Braves needed because Sale, 8 2/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts, just like we thought from a Cy Young Award-winning pitcher here. He was dominant. The Braves win again, but more importantly, the Mets lose again.
It's hilarious, too, because I don't think any Met got past second base yesterday against Sale in that game. So, I mean, he was about as dominant as you have seen. In fact, he's been like this now over his last 6 starts, Donnie. We're talking about Chris Sale. He's only given up 4 runs in his last 41 2/3 innings. That's a 0.86 ERA in his last 6 starts. Is that dominant and Cy Young worthy? I would think so.
No, it certainly has been. And also, you're looking for the Braves need a jump start because this could have been like the death nail, right? It's like, okay, we're not playing good baseball. Mets come in here and roll us, and then we're back 15 games from the New York Mets, and there goes our season. Because now you're starting to put out theory or put out notes there. You saw they were even getting asked, like, hey, by the way, you're going to trade Chris out the deadline? Said absolutely not. Like the only guy that might be up would be a Marcell Ozuna. So they're trying to hold the course to say, hey, players, give us a chance here. Like, make us feel like by the All-Star break, we can still get into this and make a playoff run at this point. But the Mets certainly struggling at this point. We'll see if they can rebound. But Ronald Acuna Jr., last night, like, you want the good vibes right away? All right, scoreless top of the first inning. What are we going to do in the bottom of the first? Ronald Acuna home run. Since he's been back hitting .390 on this season and adding that punch, you're just waiting for the guys behind him to wake up. Austin Riley up to 275. Matt Olson with a home run last night. He's now up to 250. Like, you're trying to breathe life back in that Atlanta franchise. And the same thing with the Mets is it's going the opposite direction here, Joe.
Big time going in the opposite direction. Yeah. But again, there'll be ebbs and flows here. I mean,
there will be.
Donnie, if I would have told you the Mets at this point here, middle of June, 45-29, would we be complaining in the beginning of the season? We'd be like, that would be awesome. Yeah, and now all of a sudden it's, forget it, the Mets are trash. They're 45-29 midway through June. They're going to be just fine. It's Atlanta, and we had said this, needed this series way more than the Mets did.
And by the way, you're right. The Mets had one runner in scoring position with one at bat yesterday, and that's how you scored 0 runs. You're not really pressing anything, but a great pitching performance out of Chris Sale. How about out on the late night West Coast last night? The Los Angeles Dodgers drove 4-3 victory again over the San Diego Padres. Emmett Sheehan on the mound, 4 innings, pitched 1 earned run, giving up. Kolek was decent here for the Padres, 6 1/3 innings and 3 earned runs. I actually thought my favorite bet in this game would have been an Ohtani RBI. He went 0 for 4 last night, but it didn't matter. The Dodgers pick up another victory, rebounding from that little swell they had last week. Looking good this week for the Dodgers.
And then flair for the dramatic, I guess, too, because it was Will Smith who hit the home run in the bottom of the 9th that gets it done there. So, but you're right. Kolek was actually really good in this game, and he has been actually pretty good for the Padres this year. But the Padres tied it in the game, was 3-3, I think, in that top of the inning. And we had a sac fly, bases loaded. Could have been a huge inning for the Padres and could have really blown the game open. But ultimately, you allowed Will Smith to get up there and crush one, and game over. Dodgers win. Dodgers win series, too.
Yep, not a good look here, by the way, for the San Diego Padres. Losers now of 6 of 7 games, and those 6 of 7 games were in the division to the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. That's a quick way to fall out of favor here and say, you know what? We had a good season going, now sitting at 39-34 and a little bit of a tailspin at this point. We'll see if they can certainly bounce back. Maybe they will. More Major League Baseball next. Hour number 1 of the Early Line returns right after this short break.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, God.
Major League Baseball. I got a question for you, Joe Ranieri, because, the impact of this league and what they can do to baseballs really has me troubled because most people, the eye is towards, unless we have really good pitchers, how can I have an angle here for an RBI prop, extra bases here at this point, strikeout props for the pitchers, home run props for the batters here. So the games that we just reviewed, the Los Angeles Angels and the New York Yankees, that game stayed under. The New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves, that game stayed under. The San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers, that game stayed under. We're going to bring up right now the Boston Red Sox and the Seattle Mariners. 3-1 yesterday. That stayed under and continues to do so. So let me ask you this, because I like to do now, Joe, taking advantage of some alternate team totals, which means, hey, look, the Yankees are 5.5 last night, whatever it is. Well, let me get them down to 2.5 and parlay them with some other chances to sort of lower those numbers. Now, granted, again, the Yankees only got 2 runs. But do you watch anything from Major League Baseball and feel like, Andrew McCutchen putting out that statement, like the seams are higher, baseball knows about it, they can't do anything about it this year? Like, does that play into, like, we should just be shifting to looking at unders because the overs are inflated and the baseballs aren't holding up and being conducive to overs?
Well, I mean, the problem is here we are in the middle of June. Weather is shifted. Humidity is up. We know the ball travels in a number of these ballparks. And we also know this story, Don. This is not a news story. I mean, what folks don't realize is that Major League Baseball bought Rawlings years ago, and the plant down in Costa Rica where all the balls are made and ships them out. There is one organization that controls what's happening with those baseballs. Oh, yeah, and it happens to be Major League Baseball themselves. So we have heard this every season now for about the last 5 years, where we go through these crazy amount of run games. Then we go through periods of the ball's not the same. Pitchers are saying it, players are saying it, and Major League Baseball's like, I don't know, take it up with the guys who make the balls. You're the one who makes the balls, Major League Baseball. You own Rawlings. Figure it out. Seems a little suspect to me.
Again, it's the only league that we hear about. And again, hundreds of millions of dollars being gambled on this sport here. And it's like, well, we don't know which baseball that we're getting tonight. Wouldn't you love to have that? Like we saw Aaron Judge yesterday for a while, like the FanDuel Sportsbook, a plus 110 to hit a home run last night. I'm saying to myself, does somebody know? Like, did they say, all right, whoa. Yankees aren't hitting. Get the baseballs back there in Yankee Stadium. Everybody's hitting home runs tonight. Like, that's the feel of it. Like, even just looking at some games, and we're going to get back to this Mariners game in a moment. 4 runs in that game. 6 in the Phillies game, which was under. 4 in the Rockies game, which was under. 5 in the Yankees game, which was under. The Blue Jays and the Diamondbacks, 8-1, have probably squeaked over. The Reds and the Twins, 4-2, that's an under. The Braves, 5-0, that's an under. The Rays and the Orioles, there's nothing you can do. That's like Coors East at this point right now, 12-8. But the Rangers and the Royals, probably right on that number of 9. Guardians and the Giants, that stayed under. Astros blow over because, again, they're playing in a minor league ballpark. You get back to a major league ballpark, Dodgers, Padres, 4-3. It's just like we don't talk about this, Joe, in the NBA. Like, you know what? LeBron James is right. Like, they're making the basketball. It's an extra inch larger around than it was last year. Nothing we can do about it this year. The NFL, can you imagine quarterbacks going, there's an extra seam on this football here where the laces are wider than they were last year. Only sport we talk about this is baseball.
Yeah, what happens if they would put a few less dimples on a golf ball? I wonder how that would affect the ball. So, but again, I can tell you the one organization that knows exactly what kind of baseballs and what's going on, and it's Major League Baseball. Yeah. So it would not shock me that, listen, is it possible to make the same thing over and over and over and over? You know, can you make the same ball identical every time? Of course you can. Are you kidding me? There's absolutely no reason for a player at any time, Donnie, to go, you know what? This is not the same. This doesn't feel the same. If that's a problem, then Major League Baseball needs to figure it out.
Exactly. Figured it out yesterday. The pitchers are loving it. Garrett Crochet improves to 7-4 on the season. And how about this, Joe? 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run. His new sparkling ERA, 2.20. But again, 3-1 final under. Look at the Red Sox. Joe, they had 1 player get into scoring position. You take a look at the Mariners for the game. They had 5 at-bats with runners with scoring position. That's hilarious at this point. But the Red Sox, again, in a lower scoring series, they win that game 39-37. And now they take the trip to take on San Francisco to see Rafael Devers and the crew.
Yeah, well, listen, Boston is, it remains to be seen, right? To be determined here, the impact without Devers. I think in the long run, it's going to hurt them. before it helps them. But you got to win your aces games. And that's exactly what Boston did yesterday by winning a game for Crochet, who was fantastic.
And by the way, shout out Roman Anthony, 0 for 2 yesterday, down to 0.74 in Major League Baseball. Is he a boss?
Looked good.
Is the number one overall?
He looked good doing it.
In his uniform? Yeah, he does. Yep. He does. More Major League Baseball, which includes Cy Young's next.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Cy Young, we're talking about unders in Major League Baseball. That's music to pitchers' ears, Joe, because if you say, hey, the seams are changed, there's less drag. Remember, it used to be in Major League Baseball, like if you're a pitcher for the Cubs, like we can't sign anybody unless you're a sinker ball pitcher. If you're a fly ball pitcher, you will not work out in Chicago any way, shape, or form. Now you're saying, okay, I'm a fly ball pitcher and the drag is lower on baseballs. I can give up as many fly balls as I can, and pitchers are taking advantage. If we look at the American League to start, I love Tarek Skubal. He got bumped yesterday on a rainout. Today, he's going to be back on the mound. He's a minus 280 price, and we're only in the month of June, followed by Crochet, who was fantastic last night, Brown, Fried, and also DeGrom. Is it Skubal's to just win, as we talk about, like, hey, Aaron Judge is the MVP and Ohtani's the MVP of the National League? Skubal looks fantastic this year once again, Joe.
Well, here's the problem. So does Hunter Brown. Max Fried has been there. So is Crochet. I don't know there's that big a spread between what we're looking at here. I mean, it feels more like a popularity contest. I mean, I've seen the Royals beat Skubal not once, but twice this season already. So, and Skeens, we've already seen stretches where, yes, he can be as dominant as anybody, but there's also stretches where we've seen him can't make it, to the 5th, 6th inning there without walking a whole bunch of guys. It's not, I don't know that the numbers are that far apart from everybody else. But again, popularity contest at this point.
You know, it's tough to bet on those two, Joe, because I'm saying right now, yes, Skubal's the best pitcher, but it's unlike a day-to-day position player. Like, let's just say if Aaron Judge, who's the heavy favorite here at the FanDuel Sportsbook to win the MVP, hurts his hamstring and misses 2.5 weeks. He's got a ton of at-bats and he can make that up. But all you need to see is hey, I bet Skubal minus 280. Ooh, the elbow's a little bit sore. That could just derail an entire month of starts, which then you start to lose the battle of the strikeouts and how many wins you can rack up at that point. That's why it's so tough, because any given time, you just get that bad news, pitcher left the game early. A player leaves the game early. Ooh, maybe he banged up his ankle a little bit. Pitcher leaves the game early, usually devastation there. But Skubal, to me, is the best pitcher right now in baseball, and specifically, I should say, in the American League. Look at the National League. It's Paul Skeens. He's been wonderful. The jokes we always make up, hey, the guy's just wasting time out there on the mound because the Pirates won't win anything. He's the favorite at a minus 380 price in the National League over Zach Wheeler, Chris Sale, who was fantastic last night, Yamamoto, and Webb. It seems like the young guns here taking control right now of the American and the National League.
So we just gave you the numbers on what Chris Sale has done his last, 6 starts here. And the guy is virtually unhittable. You can't even get a runner in the scoring position on him. And yet somehow he is 14-1 right now to win it. It just, would you take Skeens or Chris Sale tomorrow if you had a 1-game wins all situation?
Yeah. Man, can you imagine that? Can you imagine lining up? We could have a dominant performance. And by the way, they could line up today, and it would be fantastic to watch. But, oh, well, it is what it is. By the way, Joe, did you know yesterday we did have a couple rainouts in Major League Baseball when the warmer weather comes in? Sometimes the big thunderstorms come in and games are postponed. But let me tell you about this game that wasn't postponed and actually finished early, and it was a final in 6 innings. This is where I love where baseball comes in and the business means a lot more, Joe. 4-2 victory yesterday for Cincinnati over Minnesota, which, again, I needed them to score 3 runs. They did. Still end up losing a leg of the parlay on the New York Yankees. But that wasn't games end early, Donnie. Did you know, Joe, why this game was probably played yesterday? Were you paying attention at all?
No, tell me why. Yeah. What's the scoop here?
Yeah. Well, the Reds, as you know, they don't draw a ton of fans, right? They're not a team in first place, and, hey, it's sold out every single night. But yesterday was the second edition of Ellie De La Cruz's bobblehead, where I believe he was sliding into second base. They had pictures, Joe, around the stadium. 5 hours before the game, the line started. 2 hours before the game, it looked like they were giving away $1 million gift certificates. Now, the best part about this is, if you're watching the weather from anywhere, they're going this game should not be played. You are going to have absolutely torrential thunderstorms, right around game time. It's going to last an hour or two into it. You have a short window to complete this game before the storms come back in. But the Reds are we can't have 15,000 people waiting 6 hours before the game. Why don't we let them in, give them their bobbleheads, and even if we cancel the game, at least the bobbleheads are out there and we got that out of the way. But they decided to squeeze it in. The Reds did win 4-2, but business over product, Joe. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you know what? Makes total sense. You got to take advantage of the opportunities as the Reds when you can. It's not like, people are rushing because they expect the Reds to compete for a World Series. So any reason you can get them to the stands and to the ballpark, you do it. And the fact they even got the game in, you're right, is kind of laughable given the conditions. What was it, a 2-hour delay before they even started the time?
Yep, exactly. The game, in any other night, it would have been delayed doubleheader the next day. This is the biggest night maybe of the season for us. We have to play this because the fans will revolt, and they did that yesterday. It reminds me, Joe, growing up in the 1980s, when the Phillies used to tell us that we're a small market team, we have to operate as such. They didn't trade a baseball player at the trade deadline, Joe, because a week later they had a beach towel night for that player. Never forget, it's still a business that these players actually have to operate under, and it's just the way it's done here. Take a look at some other outings yesterday. The Tampa Bay Rays, we talked about this a little bit. 12-8 victory. 20 runs in that game. The Orioles were up, Joe, 8-0 in the second inning. Didn't score again, and just you see the Tampa Bay Rays chipping away until that 4-run bottom of the 7th. The ball was absolutely flying in Tampa. Love to see it, but we've all been there, Joe, right? Hey, money line on the Orioles. Game feels good. What was that final score? Yeah, they lost, and by 4 runs.
Yeah, just when you thought Baltimore might have turned a corner, no. Up 8-0. That was a epic collapse. But you got to, I'm not stepping in front of this Rays train right now. I mean, they are 11-5 in the month of June. And now, of course, with the Yankees not able to hit, score runs, or win games, you know, the distance between the Yankees and the and Rays right now is, what, a game and a half? So this is what is possible when teams for a month get hot. And right now, the Rays have figured it out. And they've done it not only – they couldn't win in this ballpark to start the year. Remember, Donnie? Now they're winning on the road. They're winning home. The bats are good. We know the bullpen is good. You know, the Rays very much back into the conversation here in the American League East.
And maybe the Rays were looking last night, like, wait a second, if they sell the team, that means new ownership comes in. We actually might make some money here as players here. Let's get after it. Let's start winning some games and show them that we're good for contracts. You don't have to trade our best players away. How about one of the best players in Major League Baseball over the past decade and a half? That's Verlander. He's out there with the San Francisco Giants. Yesterday, Joe, 4 2/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts as he makes his way back. But Pablo Sandoval in this game, look at that, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Get me back to Fenway. I hate this ballpark. That's what I can hear right now.
Yeah, no, not good. And all those runs were in the first couple of innings there. I think they put up a 3 spot on a home run there, and then that was it. The Giants just couldn't put enough offense together to get anything going. I mean, that's now 0 for 2 with Devers in the lineup. So something's got to change there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what else has to change here. The Washington Nationals. I mean, play matinees. I mean, half-price tickets, free giveaways. Who's showing up to that ballpark when the Rockies resoundingly beating you on a night-to-night basis? Look, when Germán Márquez can step to the mound and go 5 2/3 innings pitch, 6 hits and no earned runs against you, maybe it's time that Washington goes back to where? Montreal? Where are we? Washington. What's going on, man?
11-game losing streak. But you know what? As crazy as that is, it's the Colorado Rockies winning streak that, to me, is just mind-numbing right now. They're actually winning games, and what is that, 4 straight that they have won now? I don't care who they're playing. Unbelievable. Great job by the Rockies, the Nats, and I got to look in the mirror and figure some things out here.
Yeah, come on, man. You got to be hitting against the Colorado Rockies, not them coming into your building and handling their business. By the way, if you watched last night in South Beach, the Phillies and the Marlins, a 4-2 victory by the Phillies. Nick Castellanos was brought out for defensive purposes 2 nights ago, then benched with some words. Made a really nice catch to actually end that game in right field. So interesting times in Philadelphia and in Major League Baseball, but maybe none more interesting than the landscape of the NBA. The Celtics sold. The Lakers sold. Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks have sold. Who's next on the docket to sell? $10 billion, people, with a B. We'll talk about it next. And that B's not for club.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week. They confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, you know Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, record deals here, Joe Ranieri. Yeah, maybe you sell your house for a pretty good profit. You move on. It's like, okay, that worked out my direction. But usually you don't sell like your house or, your car. It's like, hey, now I can sit back, relax. I made enough money and I'm going to ride off into the sunset. If you're watching the NBA and quite frankly, professional sports at all levels, if you're selling your team now, you are raking in billions of dollars. And yesterday, one of the most iconic franchises in the history of sports, the Los Angeles Lakers, were apparently up for sale, and they were sold for $10 billion. Shams Charania yesterday with a tweet that came out breaking. The Buss family is entering an agreement to sell majority ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers to Mark Walter, the CEO and chairman of diversified holding company TWG Global, sources tell ESPN. Jeannie Buss will continue to serve in a role as governor after the sale. We'll get to that second part later, but I was surprised by this. Like the Rafael Devers trade on Sunday, wait a second, where did that come from? Like that couldn't have been, hey, let me pick up the phone and make a deal in 3 minutes. Like the Lakers must have been engaging in talks to sell the team for quite some time, but we never got word of that. So when you heard the Lakers were sold yesterday, what was your initial thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, well, it was not so much that they sold. And by the way, you got two of the greatest legendary franchises have now been sold within the last year in the NBA. I mean, the Celtics got $6 billion. And now you've got the market reset here, not a couple of months later, with the Lakers at $10 billion. But to me, it's the group, it's the guys who bought it, because this guy, Walter, what he has done, Mark Walter and this group, what they have done with the Dodgers is no joke. And he took the team over, I think, in 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
And it took him a little while. And if you remember, Donnie, at that time, the Dodgers were a wreck of a franchise at that point. They had a divorce going on, right, with the previous owner. It was a mess. He comes in, gets it all straightened out, and what does he do? Well, he wins 2 World Series titles here now, one in 2020, one in 24, lands the greatest baseball player in the world. He'd had nothing to do with it, but now his task is going to be to lock up one of the best NBA players, a generational talent in Luka, and get rid of all the rest. So if I'm a Laker fan, I'm going, thank goodness we've got people who actually know how to win, and we'll put the resources behind it necessary in order to dominate the NBA like they're doing in the National League with the Dodgers.
By the way, you just stroked a memory for me, which I thought was hilarious. Like, you're right about that, don't you? Because I think it was the Fox, because I'm reading right now, the Fox Group owned the Dodgers from 99 to 2004 and sold to Frank McCourt. And that was the old, I don't have much money. I'll give you like a parking garage in Boston as like collateral. And then as it went out, it was like, well, hold on. Are you running the Dodgers? Or are you just like buying your own personal properties and doing all this stuff? Like baseball is like, you have to sell and get out, which he did make a pretty penny. But the Dodgers certainly have taken now that money and spending and reinvesting into the franchise back into the stratosphere, because it wasn't as if like, hey, you know what? The Dodgers won every other year. Like they went from like 1988 to 2020 and didn't win a World Series being in Los Angeles. And now again, better baseball team, better management, affording more players, they can be able to do that. But the Dodgers weren't always like, because that was 2004 to 2012. That's hilarious that we bring that up, because now the group, again, that owns the Dodgers, that put them in the right place, now going to own the Lakers. But again, you do have salary cap constraints, but everybody say, hey, first apron, second apron. If they run it anything like the Dodgers and you're a Lakers fan, Joe, you got to be happy about that, because you say, well, the same team bought the Dodgers and ran them into the ground. No, they bought the Dodgers and brought the Dodgers back to respectability, paying a lot of money and saying, you know what? We're a big city. You guys pay a lot for these tickets. We'll pay a lot for these players. Let's go ahead and enjoy this.
Yeah, and you know what? It all started with him. You can always tell a very well-run company, Donnie. It's because he didn't want to be the face of I'm the owner kind of guy, right? Yeah. He was not a George Steinbrenner. What he did is he hired the best people in the world to run the organization. Friedman, he went out and hired Friedman, one of the best GMs that we have ever seen. A guy that actually set up the Tampa Bay Rays for success. He hires the right people. If I'm Luka, I am ecstatic right now because I have an ownership group that's going to do everything in their power to make sure he is surrounded by the right kinds of players to win NBA titles, and not just one. We're talking about a number of NBA titles here.
Yeah, $10 billion there. Like, you used to be like, hey, man, $1 billion's a lot, $2 billion's a lot. Oh, the Dallas Cowboys are worth $4.7 billion. $10 billion for Lakers. And the Lakers are a team in Los Angeles, one of two teams. That's amazing they sold for that much. But you're right about this. Every other NBA owner absolutely raising a glass of Cristal last night. Like, you know what? We did it, boys. Like, now we're in the official stratosphere, because if anybody knows about the real estate market, what do you get, Joe? An appraisal from properties that are like yours of what you can sell. Somebody sells for more money than your house is worth, you love it, because next time you're up, you're going to get more than that person. So the next time somebody knocks on the door for like the Sixers or the Hornets or the Washington Wizards, they go, yeah, I know we're not going to probably get $10 billion, but you thought you were getting us for $5 billion. Yeah, the new price is $7.5 billion at this point. But let me talk to you about this, Joe. Jeannie Buss says, yeah, I sold the team. I'm still going to be the governor, which means owner in the NBA of this team. What is that about? Just for an easy transition, smooth, before the minute they sign on the dotted line, it's like, hey, Jeannie, enjoy your vacation. See ya.
It's strictly novelty and for, history and for the old school Laker fans there that remember, Dr. Jerry Buss, and the Buss family and the Lakers will always be synonymous with one another. And this is nothing more than, one of these figurehead titles where the Buss family's still involved, but really the reality is they're cashing their $10 billion, and she'll show up once every, 3 months there and make an appearance, and that'll be it.
I'll tell you what's interesting, too, because it's like ownership is wild, because usually it's like, hey, the father builds a business, then hands it over to the kids, see what you can do with it. And the kid's like, well, either I want to work day to day, or I'm selling this thing the minute, like, you pass away, and I'm taking all that money. I'm going to live my life at this point, because you'll see that now with the Indianapolis Colts, where it's like, hey, we got 3 owners in here. Don't you remember when the Buss family, like after, Dr. Jerry Buss died, it was like, wait a second, who's actually running this thing? Like, they were going to the courts like, it's my team. No, it's my team. I'm going to run it. No, you're going to run it. I get 51%. You get 49%. You don't get the vote at this point. It's amazing they actually made it this long, but $10 billion after Dad's investment of under $100 million, that's talking about a really good businessman, which anybody that's ever talked about Dr. Jerry Buss, guy was a really good businessman all the way through in Los Angeles. But now selling for $10 billion to a conglomerate. We'll see what happens with the Lakers over the next couple of years. That means new arena at this point. That means extra players, paying the second apron here. We'll find out sooner than later. More hot topics on the way right here on the Early Line.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's In-Game Live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Joe and Erie, Donnie right side here, end of hour number 1. And you know what? We haven't talked much about the NBA Game 6 Finals that is going to take place tonight from Indiana Gamebridge Fieldhouse here, Joe. So the vibes for you tonight, like we'll talk about the lines, we'll talk about the series prices in a moment. How have the finals treated you? Are we living up to expectations? The enjoyment level of the finals, is it there for you?
Yeah, it's been very much there. You know, we've talked about it, Donnie. We said the zigzag theory was going to be alive and well in this series, and it had been up until the last game here. But the reality is, you know, these two teams, it's one of the first finals I can remember in a long time where one team is so overhyped coming in versus another team who everyone had just assumed stick a fork in them and they had no shot. They are double-digit underdogs across the board, and that being the Pacers. And what we've seen is, while yes, OKC, very dominant and offensively really good at home, but this is a totally different team on the road. I've never seen such an overhyped team be two totally different teams offensively on the road versus at home. And that, to me, that's not a great champion. That leaves a lot to be desired and a lot of opportunities to fade them. And that's exactly what we've done these finals.
Yeah, by the way, talking about a lot to be desired as well, when you look at the NBA Finals, like, you know, the odds are one thing, but the ratings so far the worst since 1988 when they started doing the ratings here. And I don't think that was a surprise coming in. It's not to say that's a bad brand of basketball. I'm enjoying this series, and it's been competitive. It's not a 4-game sweep. We're getting game 6 tonight. Wait till we get a game number 7 on Sunday night, and the ratings certainly will help at that point. But the one narrative also is, like, Oklahoma City, like, usually you get to villain status, right? Like, wow. They were the number, wasn't a surprise, not a Cinderella, like sort of the Pacers are. But the best team in the NBA all season long probably was OKC. They have the MVP there. He won the MVP in the Western Conference Finals, probably going to be the MVP in the finals, and the NBA can't sell that. So before we get to the odds, is that interesting to you? Like, the best team in the NBA is absolutely not box office. And when we talk about not box office, terrible statistics on the ratings since 1980. Does the NBA look at this and be like, maybe we hope we're not building a dynasty in OKC because they don't move the needle at all? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem here, right? You have to do a pretty good job of promoting small market teams that have stars, especially early. We haven't seen this in a while, right? But let's face it, OKC is a small market team that's not had a ton of success in the past. So the nation is not going to be, you know, not like the Knicks or the Lakers or the Celtics or the true blue bloods and nobody is going to be running to the television set to try and back a bunch of guys that they didn't watch throughout the season. And that's the problem. But I'll bet you this, next year, you're going to see a lot of Christmas OKC. You're going to see a lot of primetime standalone Oklahoma City Thunder games next year, as well as Indiana Pacers, because they will push these two teams, I think, in the near future.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the Dallas Cowboys, like, even though they don't win Super Bowls, it's like, well, why are they on prime time? Because 25% of the country loves them and 75% of the country hates them. We don't have that with the Pacers and the OKC. It was like, I'm just going to tune in because I hope they lose, or I'm going to tune in because I really like this team. We'll see how it plays out. But I'll tell you, the market price now at the FanDuel Sportsbook, still as it was yesterday, minus 2,500 as a favorite to win the series for OKC. And as you know, it's game number 6 tonight. They win tonight, this series is over. The Pacers at a 12-1 price. Joe, we talked about it yesterday, right? The big movement over the past 24 hours, the Tyrese Halliburton injury news directly affecting the prices for the series itself.
Yeah, and again, we've seen this though throughout with NBA and star players on teams, big market, small market. It doesn't matter here. We all need to keep in mind the Pacers were a couple of minutes away from having a 3-1 lead here, Donnie. So this series is a lot closer than people give it credit for. The overreaction with injuries in the NBA is legendary. We've all made a lot of money fading those overreactions. My question to you, is this line an overreaction because of Halliburton?
Yeah, exactly. And again, it looks like it is, because now we're getting those 5s turning into 6.5s and 6s in the marketplace right now for Game 6 itself. But you're right. How many times have you bet an NBA game going like, wait a second, Giannis isn't playing tonight? That's an easy victory the other side. Not realizing the guy's like, hey, I finally get my chance here, and I'm getting 9 points, and we'll win it outright. It always happens here. So if your thought process is no Halliburton, no chance tonight, well, we're certainly going to tune in tonight for game number 6 and find out if that is actually the right way to bet this. We got so much more NBA talk coming up in hours 2 and hours 3 here to get to set the tone here for a game number 6 in Indiana. Should be a lot of fun. Hour number 2 is up next. The NFL. Whoa! Almost time for the season. We'll be right back.